Instagram feed up, and there we go. All right, got it. I am Coach James. I am the creator and lead instructor for All About Aerodynamics, the science program that uses Hot Wheels cars to teach kindergarten through 6th grade students about a range of science and physics-related topics, including but not limited to friction, force, aerodynamics, drag, lift, Isaac Newton and his 3 laws of motion, kinetic energy, potential energy, elastic energy, elastic force. Once we've gone over all of the science topics, then I bring in about 400 different Hot Wheels cars, and each student gets to select a Hot Wheels car they think would be fastest in a series of races based on everything that they've learned in the course. Once they've selected their cars, then they examine their cars, they weigh their cars, they test the speed of their cars, they check the year the car was manufactured, the materials the car is made of. All of that information they calculate, they enter into a spreadsheet, and then they set up a 1/64 scale quarter-mile drag strip, and we have a series of races. The students race the cars and observe how their cars performed. Did their cars perform up to or below their expectations? And if they had the opportunity, would they select that car again, or would they make a different choice based on everything they've learned in the course? At the end of the class, we have had fun with Hot Wheels cars, and we've learned science. What could be better? If you would like more information about our science program, All About Aerodynamics, and how to bring it to your school or your organization or your special event, all you have to do is go to our website, aerodynamics.com, or you can follow us on Instagram, aerodynamics, and all of the information you need is in the bio, and you can find out more information on how to bring our program to your school or your organization or your special event. But this is not all about aerodynamics. This is all about Aerodynamics presents Wind Tunnel Wednesday. So what is that? Well, I have the Funtech Labs Windsible, which is a 1/64th scale wind tunnel. And what we do is take the Hot Wheels cars, put them into the Windsible, turn it on, see how the air flows over, under, and around the cars, and we get a good idea about how these cars are going to respond on our track. We get a good idea about the drag that they are going to face, and we are able to really see and determine how different cars, we look at how they performed on the track, and then we look at them in the wind tunnel, and we've done enough of these that we can start to see trends and know which cars are going to be more impacted by drag than others. And we will do that today, but you have the opportunity to select a car. You can go to AtTheTrack.live. You're going to have 3 options. One's a YouTube stream link, one's a Twitch stream link, but the third link is most important. It's the one that says choose a car. If you select that link, you will be taken to this page. On this page, all of the cars that are currently in the All About Aerodynamics At The Track Live fleet are listed and numbered, and there are currently 889 cars in the fleet. So all you have to do is scroll through, find the car that you would like to see in the wind tunnel, take the number of that car. So let's say it's this Lamborghini Aventador LP 700-4. This car, you can click on it, take a closer look. If you would like to see that car in the wind tunnel, then you would just take the number of the car, in this case 147, drop that in the chat. I will see that, I will pull the car, and we will put it in the wind tunnel. Then on Saturday, you can do the same thing. You go to AtTheTrack.live, you go to the choose a car option, find a car. The only difference is we won't be putting the car you pick in the wind tunnel. We will be taking it to the track. It will be entered into the tournament with the other cars that are introduced and the other cars that are selected by viewers. And we will take those cars, put them on the track, and see if your car can come out on top. If your car happens to come out on top and win the tournament, then it will face the fastest in fleet champion, our fastest car, which is currently and has been for some time now, this one. It is, get it in focus, right there. It is the Blitz Speeder. The Blitz Speeder is the fastest Hot Wheels car on the planet, and it has been our fastest in fleet champion for The last 4 months or so, it has been extremely dominant. It has faced very little in the way of competition, and we have been throwing everything at it. There have been viewer picks. I've found cars that I've introduced into the fleet to compete against, that have ultimately competed against it, and none of these cars have been able to really give the Blitz Speeder much of a contest. The closest race that the Blitz Speeder has had recently was when we brought in another Blitz Speeder to see if it was this particular car or if it was just the overall design of the car that made the difference. And it turns out that those two Blitz Speeders, the races were very close. This one won, but the races were close. So it does suggest that it is it is not that specific car. It's the overall design of the car. And that is why the Blitz Speeder is going to be the first car that goes into the wind tunnel, as always. And it is really the ideal of what you want your car, what you want to see from your car when we put it in the wind tunnel. Now, if you notice in the wind tunnel, we have an addition, and the addition is this. It is the Windsible. It is this device right here, and let me move the camera. This is a 1/64th scale dynamometer. I always it's the short is a dyno, but what we can do is we're going to put the cars on those rollers. And so what it's going to do is it's going to lift up the cars. It's going to raise it up so that now the car should be interacting with more of the smoke streams, because the Windsible has about 5 smoke streams, but Hot Wheels cars most of the cars we use tend to sit so low that they're only interacting with 1 or 2 of the smoke streams at best. This is going to raise the cars up, so now we should get a different view and look. I had mentioned before, when I first got the Windsible, which is this, I couldn't get it to fit inside the Windsible, which is the name for the wind tunnel, and it was pretty frustrating. And then I realized that there's a filter back here that you have to pull out in order to slide the Windsible into position. So now we have it in position. This is going to be the first run, the first test. Hey, Christopher, how you doing? This is going to be the first test of the Windsible. So let's get this turned on. So you turn it here, and it is great. It's not turning on. So it's got batteries in the back, and we had an issue with the batteries, and let's see, this is still not turning on. So here's what we'll do. We have the car, at the very least the car is lifted up. I'm going to turn on the wind tunnel and see, because I suppose that the wheels actually moving isn't going to make that big of a difference in terms of what we're seeing, but who knows. All right, so let's start jumping up to 67 miles per hour. And this is interesting, actually. Let me move the car, make sure it's lined up properly. That's not too bad. All right, we're at 67 miles per hour. Let's go ahead and turn this up and see what we see. So one of the differences is that we're able to see that the airflow is now, we're getting airflow underneath the car, which is something we typically didn't see because the car was sitting so low. Let's turn this up. But now, one of the important things that we've seen with the Blitz speeder is that there's no separation. So the air hits the front of the car, goes up over the hood, comes up over the windshield, the roof line, to the back of the car, and there is no point at which the air is separating from flowing along the body lines of the car. And that is ideally what you want to see. Let's go up to 161 miles per hour. And now we are getting, you can see right around that front wheel that the air is flowing out from behind the front wheel and then around the sides of the car. Take a look up top. Not really able to see as much, but from this view we're able to see what's most important, which is that airflow is not separating from the body. When we put some other cars in here, we're going to see the airflow, especially on the top. It usually separates somewhere around the roof line, and that was something that we definitely saw when the cars sat lower. Now that they're a little bit higher, I expect that we'll still see it. It'll just be with these upper two air streams instead of the ones at the bottom. And we are definitely getting more airflow off to the sides that we can see, because again, usually the smoke streams didn't hit this low on the car, so we didn't really have any idea about what we were going to see. So makes it a little interesting. But again, with the Blitz speeder, what you see in the wind tunnel from that car is pretty much what you want to see, and that is the airflow going right along the body of the car and not separating. Once it separates, once you have that separation of the airflow, you're creating different types of pressure. There's a low pressure area that is created on the back side, and that creates pressure drag, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. But the next car that we're going to take a look at is Christopher wanted to see this one, this Acura NSX, and we are looking at this car, and right from the beginning, the only thing I'm noticing, everything looks good. The back end solid. This little piece sticking up here, it's not big enough that I think it's going to be a big problem in terms of drag. It's just interesting that it's there at all. But on our track, you want a flat back end, and that's pretty good. You got a wing right at about the roof line. We've seen cars that have wings raised up a bit tend to get pretty good launches, especially if they're flat, and that's what this car has. So nothing about this car suggests that it should not do well. I think it should do pretty well if this is the car that Christopher happens to go with for the races on Saturday at 11 a.m. at AtTheTrack.live. We are here racing cars, and let's go ahead and take a look at this one in the wind tunnel. All right, let's see. Let's get this here. And now there's another thing that the Windsible has, like the actual floor of the Windsible has a line that shows you exactly where the center is. Because the Windsible is in there, that line is being covered up, so I have no idea how it's if the car is centered or not, so we'll have to run it and then see. And let's go ahead. And one thing we don't have to worry about is the car rolling forward. That's good. Alright, so let's go to 67 miles per hour, which is typically where we begin. Very low speed, and you can still see, bumped it up to 80, the air building up in the front, so high pressure in the front. And as I mentioned, we're starting to see, you can see with this one, that the air kind of tails off at the top of the roof right here. So when that air separates from the roof line, it's creating an area of low pressure. High pressure at the front, low pressure at the back means pressure drag is created, and it's a force that's pushing against the forward momentum of the car. And we see this a lot on our track with cars that tend to slow down towards the back end. The cars are moving at a high rate of speed, and the faster an object moves through the air, the more drag has an impact. And with cars, lighter cars and cars with bad aerodynamic profiles, we see them impacted by drag in the form of them kind of slowing down toward the back end of the track, especially if they aren't heavier cars. We've had lighter cars that just tend to slow down. That drag gets them, and that is a wrap. So with this car, everything looks good. We're up to 174 miles per hour, and everything looks pretty good. The air is hitting the front of the car, coming up the hood, windshield, roof line, and then again it separates off back here. It's not flowing down and across the trunk area. It's just tailing off. So at this area, that's where the low pressure is going to be created, right in that area. And I'm trying to see where so the air is, I can see that this first airstream, or actually I guess it's the second, flowing under the car, but it's not really clear enough that we're able to see anything. But the bottom of the Hot Wheels car is flat anyway, so it's not like we would see anything special. But I am interested when we get to some of the cars that have big diffusers in the back, if we actually see the air pull up in any kind of turbulence or any kind of vortices in the back of the car, different than what we would see before the cars were lifted up. So we're up to 201 miles per hour, and yeah, this is, I think, a pretty standard look at what we'll see from most cars, not the blitz speeder, is that towards the back end, the air flow will simply separate from the body of the car. And that is just what happens. So that is the Acura NSX. And now we do have, let's see, another car here that we're going to take a look at. I just need to double check and make sure I've got the right car. Let's see. I don't know if this is it or not. 366. 360. Okay, 366. That Dodge Drift car. That's that cop car that we were looking at the other day. It may not. Yeah. I'd have to go and pull that one. In the meantime, here's a car that I wanted to take a look at, and I think it's the Zatik. exotic, or maybe, let's see, this one. Exotic is the name. It's like, I think they were some play on exotic, but they left off some letters and switched some things around. Just because it's got a kind of Lamborghini type styling, even though the front end is there's a little more frontal area that is going to be exposed to the smoke streams than we would find on a Lamborghini. So right here, let me turn it this way, stop it. The Lamborghini front end would usually come to more of a point than this. And this big front area with these two openings here are likely to trap air. And that is going to be a problem for this car. And I want to see if raising it up is going to allow us to see what happens to the airflow when it hits the front of the car. And this is something that we couldn't really test out before because the cars would sit too low and we couldn't really see what was happening. So now we can, let me slide this up, slide this forward just a bit, get the car right in there. All right, let's take a look and see what happens. We're up to 67 miles per hour, very basic, and we see that airflow right up over the top. This is actually pretty good. We're not seeing separation. Let's take it up to 107. Still looks pretty good. And yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with this car, but I am still, so the car is not lined up. I'd have to push it to the side in order to see how. See, right now the airflow is hitting the car right in the middle, so it's not giving us any indication about how those two openings just below, I guess, the headlights, or maybe the headlight openings, would be impacting the airflow, and whether or not they would be trapping the air in and kind of acting basically, for lack of a better term, like a parachute, just trapping the air in, slowing it down. Let's go turn this up a little bit. And what I do like from this car is that we're seeing a similar airflow to what we saw with the Blitzspeeder. We're not seeing the air just separate. It's following along the body lines of the car. And we're not seeing separation, which means that, yes, there is some friction drag, but there is not going to be that pressure drag. We're not going to see the air just separating off and working against this car. Now what I am going to do, hey Rough Shot, how you doing? What I am going to do is I'm going to slide the car over, because again, I want to see what happens when the air hits one of those openings where the headlights are. Let's get this moved over. And again, it's harder now because with the Windsible in there, I can't see the base. So I don't know exactly how the car's, if I've lined it up properly until I turn on the smoke, but here's what we want to see. All right. Did I move it over too far? Let's see. take a look over the top. It's kind of hitting right there. Let's see. Turning this up. I think I still need to move it over just a little bit. Yeah, I gotta move it over. And so there's another downside. I think what I might need to do is just take a Sharpie or something and actually mark the center line on the Windsible so that I can know when the cars are proper, when I've got them lined up just right. So I'm moving this over just a bit, because what we're trying to do is see what happens when the air impacts those openings right where it looks like the headlights are on this car. And I think we're getting the air, so it's hitting right on that area. This is where we're looking, right here. And we've kind of got an airstream just above it and an airstream just below it, so we're not getting that hit right in the middle. So I don't think we're going to get the answers that we're looking for. What we do have, though, is we have seen that this airflow right over the top of this car is very similar to what we see with the Blitz speeder, so that works in its favor. I don't know about those two openings right there at the beginning. That's going to be, or at the front, I think those are going to trap air in. So if anybody ever decides to pick the Exotic, then this could be a serious contender. But I think that those two openings are going to just create too much drag, and it's not going to be good for this car's overall performance. But you never know till they hit the track. So that. Let's see. I did pull this one, this Vendetta that Roughshod is considering, and this one is pretty interesting. This is the part I was interested in when he first picked it, and I was looking at the pictures. The tires, the wheels stick out in the back, and there's nothing. They stick out beyond the back of the car, so that means the wheels are going to be the part that's pressed up against the car. And when it fires out, I'm not sure. I guess we haven't done enough races with these types of cars to know and be able to determine how that impacts the car's performance, because the launcher is going to be pressed right up against these wheels, and it's going to push these wheels out. Usually the car has a bumper or a wing or something that's sticking out, and that is what the launcher is pushing. So we'll see how it works out. Other than that, that's something for Saturday if Roughshod does go with this car. But we are going to take a look at it in the wind tunnel and at least get a good idea about the aerodynamic profile of this car. And let's go ahead and, hey Virgo, how you doing? 272. Yeah, I'll go ahead and pull that car. Let's see here. Get this lined up right there where I think it's pretty much in the middle. Interesting kind of car. It has that kind of bullet shape to it, which is probably going to work in its favor, help it on the track. So let's jump up to our baseline, which is 67 miles per hour. And here's another thing I've noticed about this Windsible. It does lift the cars up, yes, and that is something that we wanted to do. But if you have a taller car, it's getting pretty close to the top of the Windsible. So we'll see when we get to a tall car what we're going to do. All right, up to 121 miles per hour. And what we're seeing with this car is that airflow, same thing. The hood section, if you want to even call it that, is pretty short, so it's pretty much the air is hitting right at the windshield, which flows right up into the roof line. And then off the back here is where we have the air separating. And I can't tell exactly what's happening underneath, because we do have the airflow, this stream right here, this second stream, hitting the bottom of the car. There's airflow going underneath and then coming out the back end. And we can see, but see, the rollers and the batteries are also, you know, in the way. So I can't make a good determination about what is happening on the back end. We do see that the air is pulling off here. So at this point, right here in the back, it's going to create a big area of low pressure. The high pressure in the front, low pressure in the back. So that pressure drag is going to be working against the car's forward momentum. And this should be an interesting car if Roughshod sticks with it, because I don't know what kind of launch it's going to get. Once it's out on the track, I think it should do pretty well, but that's a big area in this back end, a big area of low pressure, and that could work against this car. Let's see. Christopher wants to see car 883. Let's see, 883 with the top. That drone duty. You want to see the top of that? All right. So let's go ahead and put this in here. Let's switch back over here. And the drone duty. This was a car that was introduced to the fleet a couple of weeks ago and raced. It didn't do much. Its aerodynamic profile. Oh, there we go. That camera has overheated, which is a common theme. So let me switch back here to the middle. The drone duty. The aerodynamic profile wasn't all that good. It wasn't that fast. The thing that was kind of interesting is that the top part of this car pulls off. And this is basically, if you look at it closely, it's supposed to be a drone. So I guess the car is going, then the drone takes off or whatever. And Christopher, this is you want to see the top part of this? With the top part only. You want to see the car without the drone or with the drone? Let me know in the chat which you're talking about, because I think we did it before we may have done it with the drone attached, and that's not. Let me get it back on here. There we go. Snaps right in. All right, let's pop over here. Take a look, and while this drone duty is rolling around. Okay, so you only want to see the drone part. Okay, we'll put the drone part in there. I think the drone part was the part that was causing problems for the car, specifically this part, because there's an opening, and I think air was going right in that little opening, that slit right there, down into the car, and probably creating more drag than is helpful for this car. But let's go ahead and put this up. We're at 80. Up to 121 miles per hour. And definitely seeing air flowing into that area. So when the air comes up, it's hitting this part that's sticking up, but then it's also, some of it is flowing down into into that opening right there. And with this car in kind of the drone, with only the top, the drone part, the bottom is open so the air can flow back underneath the vehicle. But when the car part is attached, then it just creates an opening that traps that air in. So that's not exactly what you want to see. Let me go grab car 272. Alright, let's see. We have this. Alright, so that was the drone part of the drone duty, which has these, you can see there, the opening that I'm talking about, right there under the body. So the air is going to flow in, it's going to hit this, it's going to flow into that little opening. And with just the drone part, it doesn't matter because this part is open. But when the car is attached, now all that air that's flowing in there is just getting trapped in. It's not flowing through, it's just getting trapped in. And based on the performance we saw out of the car, I don't think that any of that helped. So let's go ahead and let me get this camera back on. This is the car that Virgo wants to take a look at. This is the, I think it's the Toy Story Rex car, if I remember correctly. And this one, I think it's compact. It's a character car. I believe it's all metal, or at least it's metal body, plastic base. Only thing that would concern me initially is this point at the back and what kind of launch it would get. It's a smaller car, and without a flat back end, it could get a great launch and do well. It could get a weird sideways launch and bounce around the track and have problems. But let's go ahead and put it in the wind tunnel and at least get an idea about the aerodynamic profile. Yeah, it's a metal body on a plastic base. And in terms of aerodynamics, it should be okay, although it's got that little lip right here that sticks up, so it's not like just a smooth line from the driver's cockpit and the windshield to the back. It's got this little piece sticking up. We'll see how that impacts this car. Kind of has a bit of a Dodge Viper vibe to it. Let's take a look and see. And with these cars, when we put them in the wind tunnel, this is just giving us one piece of information. We are pretty much just able to determine things related to drag. And drag is one of the three forces that is going to impact these cars when they're on our track. There's going to be drag, friction, and gravity. And the friction kind of comes into play most specifically and negatively when cars are bouncing around the track. So with this car, for example, if it were to get a bad launch, it would hit the right side of the track. Isaac Newton's third law of motion, for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, means it's going to bounce back to the other side of the track. Then when it hits the right side, it's going to bounce back to the left. When it hits the left, it's going to bounce to the right. Every time it does that, the wheels are going to be scraping up against the side of the track. And that friction is going to work against the car and serve to slow it down. We then have gravity, which all the cars are subjected to. But if you have a heavier car, it's going to be more of a problem because these cars are getting the exact same amount of force when they're pushed out of the launching block. So if two cars are getting the same amount of force, the heavier car is not going to be moving as quickly for as long as the car that weighs less, the lighter car. And then we get into drag, and that's what we're able to get an idea about here. And I believe the drag is arguably the most important and most significant of the forces that's working against these cars. So we saw the blitz speeder, and we saw how the air flowed over, under, and around that car. One of the key things is the blitz speeder does not have anything sticking up or in the way that is going to disrupt the airflow. And what we have here, that air flowing up over the top, coming here, and then right here we have this little peak that is definitely going to it's gonna, I don't want to say it's gonna cause a problem, but it's when you start to get to those high level really fast cars, any little thing could make a difference. And we would have to see, because this car does have a pretty big frontal area. That the air is hitting that, it has to go over, under, and around. And in the case where it's going over, flowing right up to that hood, right up to that windshield, and then over the top. So I don't see too much airflow separation, which is a good thing, which is definitely what you want to see. And I don't know. I think with this car in particular, everything is going to come down to what kind of launch does it get, and is it able to stay straight on the track. We have seen smaller cars do very well. The Chaparral 2 and a few others. But I think if this car had a flat back end, I might have a little more confidence in it, but it's just going to be a matter of what kind of launch does it get with that point. But we will see about that. Another car that we are going to be racing on Saturday. Oh, wait, I know the car. Another car that we're going to be racing on Saturday is one that I just picked up. This 711 Supra. These are, I guess, 711 exclusive cars. If you don't have a 711 in your area, then I guess it doesn't matter. If you do have a 711 in your area, then you might want to go pick one up, because people are hunting them down, and some people, when they find them, are buying up the whole display. They're buying up, bunches of cars. I was a little surprised, because I went into the 7-Eleven to get some Gatorade, and then I saw the display, so I grabbed the car and went to the counter. And it's 7-Eleven. You don't really think about prices in 7-Eleven so much. And so I got my 2 Gatorades and in this Hot Wheels car, and put it down, and I'm just kind of like ready to go. And then the guy says, "Oh, that'll be 15 something." I'm like, what? I said, "I'm gonna need a receipt." He gave me the receipt. Turns out these cars, they're $8.99. And had I known that, I probably still would have bought it, but it was definitely surprising. It's a good looking car, and on Saturday we will crack it open, and it will be introduced into the fleet. It'll hit the track, and we'll see. And then next week, once it's already been opened, we'll be able to throw it in the wind tunnel and take a look and see what the aerodynamic profile is of that car. Christopher, he's locked in. He's going with the Acura. So that is a solid pick. Another car we had race was... this one was introduced new to the fleet, the Super Blitzen. And it had it's an ID car, so it has premium features. Let's get over here. It's metal body. It has these cool plastic wheels with a lot of detail, which only the ID cars tended to have because they were made to work with that ID track. Plastic base. And it did pretty well on the track, but I definitely wanted to see it in the wind tunnel to see what kind of airflow separation that maybe we're going to see. And the reason why that is important is because, let me bring this up here. We have, there we go. And I mention this each time. So we're talking about air pressure, and the air moving over the top of the car is moving slower, and it creates high pressure. And the air moving under the car is moving faster, and that creates an area of low pressure. And so the pressure is always trying to move from areas of high pressure to areas of low pressure. So in the case of the air that's on top of the car, it's trying to move down to the beneath the car, which is the whole point of the side skirts, to prevent that from happening. When we talk about the air building up at the front of the car, there's high pressure, and then the air flows over, under, and around the car. And it's following the lines of the car. The Coanda effect explains how a moving fluid like air tends to follow a curved surface, and that's what we see. We see the air flowing up over the hood, the windshield, to the roof. Once it gets to the roof, on most of these cars, it separates from following the lines of the body of the car. Once it separates, then you have a change in pressure, and you have that area of low pressure created. And like we said, the pressure is moving from areas of high pressure to low pressure. So in this case, it would be pushing from the front of the car toward the back of the car. And that's against the direction the car is trying to move. So that causes a problem. That means that you have another force, this pressure drag, working against the car. And if you've watched these races, you have seen this in effect where cars look like they are slowing down and the other car is speeding up. And the other car is not speeding up. It's just one car is slowing down at such a rate that it makes the other car look like it is speeding up. And that is a direct result, most of the time, of drag, and specifically pressure drag. So with this car, we're seeing that air flow. And what I have noticed with the Windsible is we're able to see now that get that air to hit right at the front of the car. And this is, again, the area where there's going to be higher pressure. And so for some of the cars that have bigger frontal areas, like the Drone Duty, the Zodic, and even that Rex car, that Toy Story Rex car, had a bigger frontal area, then there's going to be more pressure building up in the front. We're at 121. It's going up. And 161. Pretty good, not seeing much air separation. It is kind of tailing off right here, but that's so far at the back end of the car that I don't know that it's having that much of an impact. And this car did well. It performed well. It didn't beat the Blitz Speeder, but most cars don't beat the Blitz Speeder. And that's how it goes. Futurismo is a car that Christopher said he picked up. I'm not sure. Is that? If you picked it up today, it's probably a newer car. I don't know if I have that one. I'd have to look it up. Is it a car that you would consider racing? That's the question. You've seen a lot of these races at this point. Is it a car that you think would be competitive on the track? We're up to 201 miles per hour here. Kind of zoom in there. Take a closer look. And I really like these ID cars. And I bought this one at a Hot Wheels swap meet because they don't make them anymore. And the reason I like them so much is because they're premium cars with all the premium details and materials and all of that. But they had have plastic wheels. And that is something that most of the Hot Wheels premium cars do not have. They have rubber wheels, which I understand from a collector standpoint. But for us, the rubber wheels, the real riders, create too much friction. And so the cars don't roll on the track as well as the cars with the plastic wheels. So the ID cars were the only ones that were these premium cars that had plastic wheels. So they're perfect. The line didn't last, and you can't find them anymore unless you go on eBay or somewhere else. There aren't new ID cars coming out, but they all had this little chip on the bottom, and that would allow the car to interact with the ID track and the ID track accessories. And but the track and the accessories were expensive, and ultimately the problem is they only worked with the ID cars. So if they had figured out some kind of way to make the ID tracks work with all Hot Wheels cars, I probably would have bought it, because that's the whole thing. It's like, I love racing the cars and getting statistics and information about the speed and lap times and other things. But unfortunately with the ID cars, that these were the only cars that would work with. So I have a handful of those. I even have another one that we might introduce on Saturday that I found. This Jaguar F-Type Project 7 ID car. And this is probably the last of the ID cars that I have. And I just happened to find this in storage. So we'll be cracking that open on Saturday. We will be racing this Acura, this 311 Acura. Let's see. The Acura NSX. It's car number 311, not a 311. Let's see. We have the 711 Supra. That will be racing. We have that Jaguar ID car will be racing. We have Roughshods Vendetta. If he sticks with that, that'll be racing. We'll have the Toy Story Rex car. If Virgo wants to see that on the track, then we already have a pretty good lineup. Plus, I'm going to be grabbing cars out of storage, introducing those. So we will be racing cars. It is At The Track Live. It is 11 a.m. on Saturday. It's a lot of fun. Introducing the cars, racing the cars. Good way to spend an afternoon. If you have something else to do, I understand. But you can always catch the episodes on our YouTube channel. Just go to the live tab. All of the episodes are there. They are listed. There are time codes, so you can jump to whichever reviews you want to see, jump to the races, watch the whole episode, whatever you want to do. It's all there. You can see, you can go back to the beginning. You can go back to the Blitz Speeder's first race and victory. You can see when the Blitz Speeder was actually beaten last year. You can see the Blitz Speeder's comeback. You can see a whole range of cars racing and trying ultimately to take out the Blitz Speeder and become our fastest in-fleet car. Again, it's every Saturday at the Track Live. It's on YouTube and Twitch. Can't do it on Instagram because of the vertical nature. We need like the full widescreen to show the races. But hey, feel free to join us. And every Wednesday we're here putting cars in the wind tunnel, taking a look. This was the first time we had the Windsible with the Runsible, and for whatever reason the Runsible didn't turn on. So I'm making a review of the Windsible, but every time I get just about finished with the video review, something else happens. So the first one I did, the Windsible wouldn't fit into the Windsible. Then I figured that out, got the whole thing set up. But now, for whatever reason, the Windsible won't turn on. So it didn't turn on today, but it did lift the cars up so we could see a different look inside the wind tunnel. But we're here every Wednesday just taking a look at the cars, putting them in the wind tunnel, seeing how the impact of drag, what the impact of drag is going to be on the cars, and just taking a little deeper kind of scientific look at Hot Wheels racing. So for All About Aerodynamics, which is our science program that you can learn more about at aerodynamics.com. For All About Aerodynamics, for AtTheTrack.live, and for Wind Tunnel Wednesday, I am Coach James, and until Saturday, I will see you at the races.